All right, here we are. Who's ready to say mean things to Rangers?
I am. I like how in the show notes you said, we're talking Rangers. Wait, don't leave.
Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. I'm Randall James, and with me is Tyler Kampstra.
Hi, everybody.
And Ash Eli.
I'm sad.
Well, that's fair, but I am here to cheer you up today. I am very excited that today we are going to be talking about the Rangers. That's right, the Rangers, folks.
I don't want to do this. You can't make me.
Founded in 1926, the Rangers play in Madison Square Garden every spring.
Shut up, you sports fan.
Good news.
We're talking about the Rangers, right? We're doing hockey.
No, we are. I would honestly prefer
Texas Rangers,
but instead we're talking. Nope, we're talking about the oft maligned, often forgotten, often memed on. Always, you love them, you love to hate them. Rangers in D&D.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll see you guys later.
I don't want to be here either.
Be by myself. I mean, I can talk into the void for an hour. I've done it before, but not great fun.
No, because you know why you're not going to do this alone, Tyler? Because you're going to defend them, and I won't let you.
I mean, hey, don't spoil the format of the episode, Ash. Come on.
We teased this last time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, bring it on.
All right, let's get into it. So before we actually start, I want to lay out a little bit of how we're going to do this, because I want you to understand how we've organized this in our brain, because otherwise it's just going to feel like we're everywhere. We're going to go through the class features for the Ranger class. And as we do it, when we hit something that's new or changed significantly, we'll highlight maybe things that are missing, but we'll go top to bottom here. And then after that, we'll dive into the subclasses. And per subclass, we'll talk about the things that have changed. And you're going to get effectively a lot of opinion in that. And then we'll come at the back end and we'll kind of, in total, give opinions about what we think about the 2014 Ranger, the Tasha's Ranger, and the new 2024 Ranger. So with that, let's get started. Let's hop into class features.
Yeah.
Actually, before we do that.
Yeah. So we got a couple of promises about what was going to change in the Ranger based on the preview videos, based on the late Unearthed Arcanas. Jeremy Crawford said that they were going to do stuff to reduce the Ranger's reliance on concentration. Like, even by spellcaster standards, Rangers were really gated behind concentration. Ensnaring Strike, Lightning Arrow, a bunch of their other spells unnecessarily took concentration, which really limited your options. So we were promised they were going to reduce that.
Crawford, you lied to us again.
Yeah.
Again. Was this what you were going for? Because this is exactly the opposite of that.
Yeah.
100% the exact opposite of that.
I think we kind of got...
You don't have to use Hunter's Mark, right?
We're going to get there. You don't. Okay. Don't have to use Hunter's Mark. Their class really expects you to. Like, there are big parts of the class that you just ignore.
Are you too out of your mind? Sure, you don't have to use Hunter's Mark, but a good portion of your features just won't do anything then.
Yeah.
So why would you not? Unless you hate yourself.
All right.
You're playing a Ranger.
I know, but it's like, the Ranger's bad enough already. You don't need to make it work. Come on, man.
All right. Hang on. I'm flipping open my player's handbook so I can have the features right in front of me while we do this.
Show off.
Flip. Ash,
isn't
we
that
tried to get you one of the...
what the notes are for?
I want to be able to read the exact text so I can remind myself that I'm an idiot. Ash, we tried to get you a special edition release copy at Gen Con, but when they did that, they crashed the Gen Con website, so it didn't.
It's okay. I appreciate the thought.
Yeah.
I'll stick with my horrible PDF that has for RPG but use only plastered all over it.
That will never not be fun. Except when you're trying to read the words right behind the watermark. Then it's less fun.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. It's the only time.
Okay, so let's jump into these features. We're going to try and go through these kind of fast, and we're only going to hit the ones that changed. If you want to hear more detail about the features, go check out the 2014 Ranger Optimization podcast episodes, because a lot of the class hasn't changed, so that advice still holds. But there are some changes, so we will stop and hit this.
Well, just a little bit of a correction. It hasn't changed a lot from Tasha's. It's changed substantially since the 2014 rules. But we played with both. So, because they're functionally different classes. That said, they did change a few things with from the translation to Tasha's, which has some people having some thoughts. So, yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, here we are, people having thoughts. All right, so first feature in alphabetical order by level, spellcasting. Because S is before F, don't question it. So the Ranger spellcasting got moved to level 1. We knew this was going to happen from Unearthed Arcana. They do not have cantrips. The number of prepared spells that you get has changed. Rangers are now able to change one of their prepared spells every time you complete a long rest. So the Ranger spellcasting already much better, much more flexible, much more versatile. Like that alone, pretty significant buff. Like being able to bring in a non-combat spell on a day that you know you're not doing combat style adventuring, that's going to offer a ton of options that just absolutely didn't exist for 2014 Rangers. So like that alone.
Yeah, that's definitely a good change. Good change, yeah.
All right, next, again, I don't know why F is after S. Don't question it. Favored enemy. So they kept the name. You might remember favored foe from Tasha's. Not favored afro. Not that.
Favored fro. Mine. Yeah. I have a Jufro, so.
Perfect. All right, so favored foe was basically Diet Hunter's Mark. It only worked on one creature per use. You couldn't move it. The damage started at 1d4 and eventually scaled to 1d8, but it was basically a second resource pool for Rangers. That meant you weren't constantly eating spell slots with Hunter's Mark. So now with Favored Enemy, they just give you Hunter's Mark prepared for free and a number of castings of Hunter's Mark each day equal to your Wisdom modifier. So right off the bat, if you come out with 14 Wisdom, you're getting 2 level 1 spell slots, 2 free castings of Hunter's Mark. So you can cast Hunter's Mark 4 times at level 1. So like the resources are a little bit better. Favored foe took concentration 2. So like right away, we're already better than we were with Tasha's version. We also get weapon mastery at this level, and weapon mastery is great.
Disagree. It is worse in one respect. Okay. And that is you could apply favored foe with one of your attacks.
That's true.
As a bonus action. So that it seems like a small change, but when we get to other classes, you'll see why that really screws over some people. Like really hardcore screws over some people. Not a fan.
Yeah, putting it back on the bonus action is kind of a pain. 2-weapon fighting, thanks to the Nick Mastery, doesn't eat your bonus action anymore, so it's less punishing for 2-weapon fighting builds unless you're doing dual crossbows for some reason. It does also make Hunter's Mark less appealing for a class dip. So like if I wanted to go Monk and then take a level of Ranger to get those 4+ castings of Hunter's Mark, because surprisingly, that's an okay build. It's less appealing because there's the competition for the bonus action.
And so we won't dive into subclasses right now, but as we look at subclasses and we talk about builds you might build, how often you're going to be wanting to use your bonus action for other things is directly going to dictate how much this sucks for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about weapon mastery. Last episode, we went into weapon mastery in detail, so check that out. Folks in the chat, I'm so sorry you couldn't join us for that one. It was right before the NDA. Right before the embargo.
Yeah, right. So if you want to break the game, just get a longbow as a ranger and just abuse slow, like we talked about last time. Yeah. Thanks, I hate it.
Or heavy crossbow and push. Just
yeah.
If you never get near me, we're never going to have melee combat, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Or the other thing. It's going to be the other thing.
Thanks, I hate it.
All right, level 2, Deft Explorer. So this is the one that gives us expertise and some bonus languages. We still only get 1 expertise, like always. So really no significant change here. I think it went from 1 language to 2 languages, but honestly, who cares? Languages basically never matter. Fighting style also got moved to this level.
It actually, 2 languages, for what it's worth.
Is it? Okay, cool. Thanks for correcting me. Actually, fighting style was at this level in 2014 too. Yeah, fighting style. So Rangers can pick any fighting style now. They still have exclusive access to Druidic Warrior as well.
Okay, so I want to talk about this a little bit. When I look at the fighting styles in the 2024 Player's Handbook, I'm not excited about any of them. And I feel like I would always want to take Druidic Warrior. So Druidic Warrior is going to let you pick 2 cantrips, and every time you level, you can swap to a different cantrip. So, right, if it's the game you want to play, if you want something like 2-weapon fighting or unarmed fighting, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to yuck your yum for the character that you're trying to build. If you're looking to increase damage output, dueling is a good example. I'm going to get +2 bonus to damage with that weapon. When I look at the option of taking 2 Druidic cantrips, so one of the things that I think is worth noting, Shillelagh is a Druid cantrip, and it was buffed in the 2024 rules.
Yeah.
So the damage used to not scale. It used to go to a D8. Now at level 5, it's a D10. It starts at a D8. At level 5, it's a D10. At level 11, it's a D12. At level 17, it's 2D6. I
like that they just explicitly said, yes, D12 to 2D6 is an upgrade. Suck it, Great Axe.
Yeah, here's our opinion, and we're right. Yeah, more dependable damage. More dependable damage is nice. Combine that with the fact that by the time you get to a level 11 with that D12, you're also going to have extra attack in hand. Yet another thing you might want to do with your bonus action. But I'll ask you the question, would you rather be using a D8 dex weapon, or would you rather be rolling with wisdom, dumping all of your, making sure wisdom's at 20 as soon as possible, hitting with a D12 and then 2D6 later?
If I'm in melee as a ranger, I would probably go for 2-weapon fighting, grab a nick weapon, so I'm making 2 attacks until I get that 3rd attack with the damage boost from Hunter's Mark or whatever else. It's real good. Don't get me wrong, Shillelagh, especially with the new damage scaling, that works great. That is a great improvement to the spell, but I don't think it's out competing other options solely based on the scaling from Shillelagh.
And if you are a ranger, Shillelagh is not going to really do anything for you.
Yeah, none of this is going to do you any good whatsoever.
Now, that said, leaning into Shillelagh as your melee option so that you can have higher wisdom, that makes all of your other spells better. Some of the subclasses depend on wisdom more than others. Like Fey Wanderer, you get to add wisdom to charisma checks, which is great. And then Beastmaster, super heavily dependent on wisdom. So Shillelagh is absolutely fantastic depending on your subclass.
Yeah, I think a lot of the builds so far that the writers have posted onto RPGBOT.net are heavily leveraging Shillelagh, I think, in no small part because of this damage boost. So we'll put links in the show notes. Go take a look.
All right, level 3, we get our subclass. 4, we get ability score increases. 5, extra attack. None of that's new. Level 6, we get roving, which was the same as the Tasha's optional class feature, except now it also gives you a permanent +10 foot speed increase. So you just get fast, which is nice.
Instead of a +5 is what it was in Tasha's.
That's right. 7, subclass feature. 8, ability score increase. 9, you get a second expertise, which the ranger didn't have in the Tasha's era, so that's nice. You're still not quite keeping up with a rogue because they've got twice as many expertises as you, but it's twice as many instead of 4 times as many.
Well, and so choose 2 of your skill proficiencies with which you lack expertise. You gain expertise in those skills. So you get 2 at this level.
Jeez. Well, this is why I had the book open in front of me so that I could remind myself when I get things wrong. Okay, so yeah, rangers will have a total of 3 expertises at this level instead of 1 like they had in Natasha's era. So another buff. 10, we get tireless, basically the same thing as it was in Tasha's era.
Wake me up when it gets interesting, sorry.
We're almost there. 10, we get the temporary hit points thing, which is great, and also we can remove fatigue on a short rest. 11, subclass feature. 12, ASI. 13, Relentless Hunter. So this is one of those features that only matters if you're using Hunter's Mark, and it's super annoying that it doesn't come online until level 13. Taking damage can't break your concentration on Hunter's Mark. So if you're not using Hunter's Mark, there's absolutely no way this applies. And you've probably...
We did it!
Yeah.
Woo! We fixed Hunter's Mark, y'all! We did it!
It only took us until level
Rangers
13.
Fixed.
No, I would say, no, we didn't, because nobody's playing at level 13.
Yeah.
5% of players ever are going to play a level 13 Ranger or beyond.
Sorry to cut you off there, Tyler, but it needed to be pointed out.
It did. All right. 14, Nature's Veil. This is the one where you turn invisible as a bonus action. 15, you get another subclass feature. 16, another ASI. 17, we get the new Precise Hunters feature. Yet again, a feature that simply does not function if you're not using Hunter's Mark. You have advantage on attack rolls against the target of your Hunter's Mark. So just perpetual advantage, no fancy tricks, no hiding, no being in the dark, none of those shenanigans. Just you are marked, advantage against you, prepared. That's it. But again, if you're not using Hunter's Mark, completely useless.
That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah. 18, Feral Senses got an upgrade. It's now actually blind sight instead of whatever it was in the 2014 rules. Like, just trying so hard not to see. Yeah. I mean, it was functionally blind sight in all but name. It was just trying so hard not to use a monster stat on a player character, and I don't know why. Absolutely pointless. All right, 19, we get our epic boon, and then finally at level 20, we get Foe Slayer. Does anybody remember?
Who's ready for the worst capstone feature I've ever seen?
Do you remember the one we got in 2014? You got to add your wisdom modifier to damage once on each of your turns.
Yeah, but it does more average damage than it does.
I don't think it does.
Well, no, if you attack twice.
Well, it was once on each of your turns.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're going from a D6 to a D10.
Once on each of your turns. I thought it was every attack. Okay.
No, you're right, I wish it was. At least I remember it being once on each of your turns.
Let me correct myself. The worst capstone feature in the 2024 rules, hands freaking down.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, they briefly experimented with this just as part of Hunter's Mark. Like, this was just a thing you got for upcasting Hunter's Mark. Because as it stands, who's going to cast Hunter's Mark with a spell slot above first level? Like, oh, great, the duration's longer, so I lose even more when I break concentration. Fantastic. Why? Yeah, like, if they had made it do more damage with upcasting, fine. Maybe. But yeah, this is
here's an idea. I know people are going to rebel against this, but if you wanted to do just this increase of damage dice thing, have it changed to a D20. Then at least you're being bold, and that's a statement.
That would be fun. Okay. So that all happened. Like, okay, if we ignore the parts that tie into Hunter's Mark, ignore the extra Hunter's Mark castings, ignore Relentless Hunter, ignore Precise Hunter, ignore Foe Slayer, we're all going to do it anyway. Just take out all of the extra Hunter's Mark.
Ignore half the class.
It's four features. I know, but still.
We're going to make it up in the subclass.
It's a majority. It's not a majority of the class, but it's a good portion of the class you're just choosing to ignore.
But we're still buffed compared to the Tasha's version, is what I'm saying. Like, if you take those things out, the things that got removed from the class weren't doing anything. So, and we got more expertise, we got better spellcasting, and we got the bigger resource pool if we look at the Hunter's Mark. So, like, this is still a buff compared to the Tasha's Era Ranger. If we're looking at this and saying, like, this is not good enough, there are other problems. And I'm not saying that there are not other problems. There are absolutely other problems. But at the very least, the core of the class isn't completely terrible.
And it isn't worse than Tasha's. That's the argument that you're making.
Here's the problem. Okay? Sure. From an objective standpoint, it is not worse than Tasha's. But in comparison to everything else that the 2024 class has got, it is objectively terrible. It got minor tweaks. It actually got a nerf to a favored foe in a pretty substantial way, to the fact that it needs a bonus action. And we're going to get to why that's a problem for Beastmasters in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's if you liked Tasha's, you'll like this too. But the problem people are having with it was we were expecting more. Tasha's was like a good fix for a broken class. But we had the opportunity to reinvent the Ranger. And we're just like, we're going to keep the broken class with the minor tweaks. Enjoy.
I do wonder, like, I buy the argument that Tyler's making that it's ultimately a buffed version over Tasha's. And Ash, I understand the argument you're making that, like, in isolation, looking at every base class in the 2024 rules, I don't know, you haven't made the argument it's the worst, but you certainly feel like it's towards the bottom if it isn't the worst.
It is the worst.
Okay, good. You did it.
It is my opinion the Ranger is the worst class in the 2024 rules.
Done. Okay, so we have it now. So both things can be true. This could be a buffed version of the base class from Tasha's, and it could be the worst class in the 2024 guide. The one thing that I'm really excited to see at the table over time is the impact of weapon mastery. And do we wind up walking away saying, like, weapon mastery overall had a large enough impact on our martial characters that the Ranger is fun and it isn't broken, and let's take the ranged weapon masteries combined with what we're looking at in this class together actually winds up being a ton of fun and pretty well intact.
Yeah, I don't think weapon masteries are going to fix this. You know why? because fighter has weapon mastery too. So tell me, what is different about this class than just playing a fighter?
You get
Hunter's Mark lets me.
If you say spells, you're full of crap because you're not going to be casting any spells. You're just casting Hunter's Mark. You have to concentrate on it. And as a ranger, your save DC is trash, so you can't be casting offensive spells. So the only spells you could cast that are worth your time would be buff spells. Guess what? Buff spells require concentration. So outside of Cure Wounds, how is this different from just playing a beefed up fighter?
Is there a better
ranged
archer?
Fighter?
Is there a better archer in the game? Like, is the fighter better? Like with Hunter's Mark, the damage output.
You know what I could do to make this as good. You know what I could do to make this just as good as for a fighter? First off, get the fighting style archery feat for fighter. Multi-class into warlock. Get hex. I'm done. I've become the same as the ranger.
Yeah.
I could even dip into Eldritch Knight and get more spells that are more useful.
They get fewer spells.
I'm now better than the ranger. Tell me how this is better than fighter.
Well, okay.
All right. Look elsewhere.
All right.
I don't like being upset about this. I don't like this. This isn't fun for me. I just want you guys to. You guys made me do this, so that's what I'm doing.
This is the spicy content that the internet wants from a podcast.
Yes, it's the spicy content that gets me no friends on Twitter, so I'm excited to get all of the hate mail about this and why I'm full of crap.
All right, I am not going to tell you that your anger is unjustified. I am not going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you that what they did with the Ranger was the right thing. I'm not going to tell you that the design decisions they made here are all objectively good. I'm not going to say those things because those are lies.
Okay, we're done.
Okay, yeah, we're done. Thanks, everybody. Good podcast.
But the rest of the podcast, but it's not all bad. Like, there are things that are better here. There are things that are improvement over the Tasha's Era Ranger. Like, there are things that it's like, why have you done this to us, Watsy? Why? It could have been so much better. Yeah.
Don't let them get away with this. You don't get points for doing the bare minimum. They wanted to sell a whole new book. You don't get points for just repasting Tasha's and doing minor tweaks, which again is why I said when we did our full review of the book that this book needs to justify its existence, and they didn't with the Ranger.
All right, well, why don't we peek at subclasses a little bit? Maybe those will make us feel better. They won't make us feel better. I'm lying. I'm sorry. I can't do that to you, audience. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
So I think this also comes to a big divide between our two philosophies. You guys are definitely on the optimizing side of D&D, which is good. It's what RPGBot is about. So I realize that I'm kind of the outsider in this and we've always made the statement where like, Ash doesn't really care about optimizing. Ash cares more about flavor. You know what the Ranger is severely lacking in? Flavor. I don't understand where the fantasy is here.
It's about exploring.
Depends on subclass.
It's about exploring and going outside and being a dirty rogue.
Where's the features for that? Where's the features for the fantasy for exploring? I don't see it. Is there one?
Well, they gave us features for exploring in the 2014 Ranger, and they all sucked. All of them.
Yeah, I'm not defending those, but I am saying this. At least
just explore. It's in the name.
At least those features had some flavor to them, even if they were useless.
I want to hit pause.
I realize this is a extremely hot take, so
no, but I'm going to disagree. Like on the core of it, like what I do agree with, the class itself has no flavor. It really doesn't. I am the sword druid. That's the flavor, or I'm the bow druid, depending on how you want to play it, right? You know, to name the 4 subclasses we're dealing with, we have the Beastmaster, we have the Fey Wonder, we have the Gloomstalker, and we have the Hunter. Each of those has an individual flavor, but I feel like the fantasy of playing the Beastmaster is completely different than playing the Gloomstalker. And these things are, in my opinion, they're not cousins whatsoever. Like the Fey Wonder...
I'll grant you the subclasses at least make it a bit different. But yeah, I mean, Stubbins makes a good point that people can't agree on what the flavor of the Ranger is. To that, my response is Pathfinder seemed to have figured it out. So I don't know why it's so hard for WotC.
Yeah.
But if they can do it, you should be able to as well. Not only did Pathfinder figure it out, they figured this back out in Pathfinder 1. So come on. Like Rangers were actually good in Pathfinder 1 and in 3.5, I might add.
No.
So,
buddy.
No?
They were better than monks, but
like, wait, okay, good as in flavor or good as in mechanically?
People seem to like Rangers in 3.5, or maybe I'm just thinking of Pathfinder because they were like
really
the
good in
minion
PF1.
masters.
Yeah, they were good in PF1. In 3.5, everything you could do as a ranger, you could do directly better as a druid, including martial stuff with weapons. Like there was no reason.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's fair. They were good in Pathfinder. I know that. So
at least they kept to tradition in the 2014 rules. Ranger and monk were still the worst two classes. Tradition.
I mean, the 2024 rules, monk is actually good now. So that's weird.
It's exciting. Breaking the mold.
Yeah. Okay, so my understanding of the intended flavor of the Rangers, like they are the explorer. They can get anywhere they can survive and thrive there. So like Rover lets them climb stuff and swim stuff and go places quickly. And like Deft Explorer will give you good skills to make surviving places good. It's kind of there. You have to squint your eyes a little bit. Like this is one of the ones where they
tireless, like the decreased exhaustion.
Yeah.
You could, if you engaged with the mechanics, like I'm doing a forced march, therefore I'm taking exhaustion, but I'm a ranger, so I'm not. But nobody engages with those mechanics.
There's the fantasy of the ranger. So not eating food can give you exhaustion levels, right? And the ranger with their tireless feature can get rid of exhaustion levels by taking a short rest, which means the fantasy of the ranger is sleep for dinner.
Yeah.
My argument, I get that the exploration is a big touted flavor of the ranger. I would argue the ranger, if you want to give rangers flavor and not have beholden to exploration mechanics, which nobody uses, they specialize in hunting, knowing about, and killing monsters. What does that remind me of? Oh, right. Thaumaturgist from Pathfinder 2. So we have to get rid of this idea that the ranger is always a guy with a bow. Maybe he's just a monster hunter, like a witcher or something. That would be cool. People like the Witcher. People like stuff where you're specialized in hunting monsters. And ranger, that is a style of play that you could absolutely put on the ranger that other people would flock to. But instead, it's just sort of like, we don't know what they are, so we're not going to try.
Okay, it is really funny, and I'm enjoying this conversation. Like, when I think of The Witcher, I would literally never associate anything that The Witcher does with ranging or being a ranger. Like, my vision of ranging, of being a ranger, it's Aragorn, and it's Aragorn, sorry, and it's the minor characters in fantasy novels that dropped out of druidic hippie school and hated people. Like, okay, that's what I imagine. I imagine the lonely person who it's like, oh, you want to go from this town to this town and you want somebody to come with the caravan and like protect you from wolves. I got you.
Okay.
The issue is that fighter is a thing and druid is a thing, and they both do their jobs better than rangers. So they should stop trying to find a middle ground. Paladin, they just kind of struck gold with like smite. People just, it's an iconic feature and it works really well. But with ranger, I think, hell, even just the Blood Hunter, Matt Mercer's Blood Hunter, I think is a better ranger and fulfills the fantasy better than freaking rangers do.
Hang on. So
I want to talk subclasses.
We do have a monster. Speaking of subclasses, we have a Monster Hunter Ranger. It's called Monster Slayer, and it's so boring that I don't remember what it does. So they tried,
but
doing it.
I'm saying there's a way to do it well, and there's a way to do it poorly. Again, look at Blood Hunter that's explicitly focused, or Thaumaturge that explicitly focuses on countering and hunting monsters. There's a way to do it well. Anyway, let's talk about subclasses. I'm sorry for the rant.
Yes.
No, but no, I do. Again, I want to come back. I want to tie this together. Like, I agree with what you're saying, Ash, that the Ranger in the 2024 handbook has no flavor. It is meaningless. It is just, it is a structure that we now have to glue flavor on with a subclass.
Yep.
Okay, so with that, let's step into the first one. Let's talk about the Beastmaster. What is the flavor of the Beastmaster? What are we doing?
Having a cool dog.
They did my voice so very
What? No, they didn't. It got buffed, man. It's so good now. Like,
it's not. I mean, Don't get me wrong. It's still good. The problem I have is that it is in direct conflict with the main gimmick of the Ranger now, which is Hunter's Mark.
That's true.
That's the big problem with it, is that, and I mentioned this when we were talking about how the 2024 rules works, is to order your beast still takes a bonus action. You know, it also takes a bonus action, applying Hunter's Mark. This wasn't an issue in Tasha's when you could apply your Hunter's Mark like feature with an attack. It maybe wasn't as much damage, but it was still something. But Hunter's Mark, now you have to choose between applying your Hunter's Mark and ordering your Beastmaster, which doesn't seem like that big a deal. It's like, okay, it's just the first round of combat. That's true on like single enemies. But if you're fighting multiple enemies, every time a creature goes down, you have to spend your bonus action to reapply it. Especially if you're fighting a lot of weak enemies, you're never going to use your beast. You're always going to do it, applying it to a different creature. And if you say, well, I just want to use Hunter's Mark, you know what the Beastmaster also gets? Your Beast Companion benefits from Hunter's Mark, which is great, but it means you have to use Hunter's Mark.
Okay. All right. Hang on. So they get that at level 11 and it's once per turn. So like they can get 1d6 extra damage per turn. Sure. Fine. It's there. This is one of those cases where you can just ignore Hunter's Mark. Like by the time this episode goes out, we'll have our Beastmaster Ranger subclass guide up. Like Random did the DPR math. Beastmaster. Yes. Beastmaster. We're going to miss those beasts. So when we look at damage per round, I have it broken up into categories, like based on how much damage the game expects the party to do. Like there is an average expected damage between a party of 4 to end combat in 3 turns. So if you're doing 2 people worth of damage, you're in the high DPR range. If you're doing 3 people worth of damage, you're in what we call the dude stop range. Like you're doing enough damage that other people functionally don't need to show up to the party. You've optimized enough. Slow down. The Beastmaster Ranger, using a very, very simple Druidic Warrior build and just using the base features of the Beastmaster, gets into high DPR very, very quickly and spends most of the level range right below Dude Stop. So like you're tanky, you're in 2 places at once, you're super easy to play, you can build around just Wisdom, so you take a mad class and make it sad, and you're doing probably more damage than most Rangers without touching Hunter's Mark. So like you can ignore Hunter's Mark and make this class work. You have to have the right subclass for it, but like it's possible and it's pretty great when it does.
And so Tyler, back to the point that you opened with, if you ignore all of the features directly associated with Hunter's Mark, this is still a buff on top of what we had in Tasha's. And so essentially what you're saying is cool. If you're going to play a Beastmaster, one appropriate way to do it is throw Hunter's Mark out the window, take your buffed 2024 base class, tack on Beastmaster. And that, from an optimization standpoint, is a pretty good class.
Yeah.
Okay, I accept that. That's cool. Rebuttal. First off, so if I'm not using Druidic Warrior or Shillelagh, am I still doing amazing damage? Like if I wanted to do a Ranger, fill into the fantasy with like a ranged longbow and my beast is tanking for me, am I doing the same damage as a person who uses Hunter's Mark, or am I doing more?
Okay, that is an interesting question that I haven't done the math on yet. I'm going to assume without Hunter's Mark, most of the time you will be doing less. Yeah, there are exceptions.
See, that's my problem.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of subclasses that pigeonhole you into one style of play. Not everybody wants to play a melee-focused Ranger that uses Shillelagh all the time. Some people do, and that's great for them. But some people want to Beastmaster and to shoot from range. And for them, they're not going to be that great if they don't use Hunter's Mark. And even if we go with the Shillelagh build, the problem I have is by ignoring Hunter's Mark, you now have several levels that are just dead levels for you, which sucks. It just means like the fighter's getting extra attack and, an extra feat. And, they're getting battle master techniques and stuff. It's like, hey, Ranger, what'd you get? I got something that I'm never going to use. So it's basically like I didn't level up. Just some numbers went up for me. That's not fun. That's not cool. And it's not interesting. But I accept that Beastmaster is good. Like I'm when I said they massacred my boy, I didn't mean that the Beastmaster is bad. I was never arguing that. Especially if you compare this to the 2014 rules, it is just like night and day. It's massive improvement. Yeah. My issue is that it forces you, if you want to play into the fantasy of the Beastmaster and you want to use your beast as much as possible, it forces you to functionally ignore half of your class features, which is just bad game design.
Yeah. I guess I do feel like, though, right, when I have creatures at range I use Hunter's Mark. I put my beast out there to tank. I'm leveraging my weapon mastery. I'm pushing or I'm slowing these creatures down, which is only making things more fun for me. And then when the fight finally comes to me, that's the point where, I put my bow away, I take out my beaten stick, and I start shillelagh on people. Like I think that build works in both directions. You might be slightly suboptimal on the range side because we didn't do something like the archery fighting style, but I still think it winds up being pretty functional, where if the combat never gets to you, you're still having that fantasy and it's going well. Like, you're not weak.
I mean, the issue with that, though, is that you have to choose. You can't do this wishy-washy, I'm going to hit them at ranged or I'm going to do shillelagh, because like Tyler said, the appeal of going with the shillelagh build is you can turn a mad class into a sad class. If you're still hitting things at range, you haven't fixed that problem. You've just exacerbated it, because now you need to ensure your wisdom and your dexterity are about equal with each other.
I think if I'm doing this, I'm maxing out wisdom front, and then
you can just use Starry Wisp as your second cantrip. Just ranged attack, radiant damage. Starry Wisp, it's new.
That would work.
Yeah. So there's options to make that work. All right.
That's fair.
We should move on because we have limited time and there are more subclasses. So Fey Wanderer got no changes. Like, there are some people looking at this and saying there are changes. No, side-by-side comparison, they changed like 8 words in the entire thing, and 6 of them were flavor text. So no mechanical changes from the 2014 rules. Fey Wanderer, it's really, really good. It's another subclass that does really well as just a straight wisdom build. So like, if you wanted to do the all wisdom thing and use Hunter's Mark, could, but you also have this thing called Dreadful Strikes that adds an on-hit damage bonus that works very similarly to Hunter's Mark, except that you don't need to cast it. It's just, you hit something, D4 damage. They can only take the damage once per turn, so you might want to like switch targets to spread the damage around, up to you, but you don't strictly need to use Hunter's Mark. You should, it'll be even better, but you don't strictly need to, and you'll still be okay.
Oh, good. More reasons for us to ignore our most important feature.
Yeah.
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, Fey Wanderer remains good, and the upgrades to the core of the Ranger, ignoring the frustration of the Hunter's Mark issue, still good. Gloomstalker, geez. What did they do? This
one hurts my soul. This one hurts my soul.
Yeah.
Okay, was the Tasha... Yeah, what was at the end of 2014... was the Gloomstalker OP?
Yeah.
It was, but in a way that didn't feel unfair, and it felt fun. Like, not in a way like Twilight Cleric or Peace Cleric, I think, breaks the game in a way that completely nullifies any challenge. Like, was it strong? Absolutely, it was strong, and you could output some serious damage. But even then, like, I don't think you were out damaging wizards at higher levels. So, I mean, it just made Rangers fun, and it made them powerful. So I don't really necessarily agree that it was OP, or at least it wasn't OP enough that it really warranted change, because I don't remember anyone really having a problem with it. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there were some DMs who absolutely hated Gloomstalker. The only time I can think of when I banned Gloomstalker was when I was running a setting where it was always dark, which makes an already strong class basically broken. So that makes sense. But in most campaigns, you're not doing that unless you're spending a lot of time in the Underdark, which conceivably is where that Ranger should shine. But also, they're not from the Underdark. They're not from the Underdark anymore. They're from the Shadowfell. Woo!
Yeah. Gosh, yeah.
So
that says so much about the Ranger. Just like, the best parts of the Ranger invalidate the parts of the game that you want to play. 2014 Ranger, like, you're really, really good at survival mechanics to the point that you don't get to play survival. Gloomstalker, you're really good at being in the dark to the point where the DM no longer puts you in the dark because all challenges have been it's like,
Yeah. I mean, actually, we now have that problem with the monks, with the Shadow Monk. So, I mean, the 6 of one, half a dozen of another. They just moved to the problem.
Okay, for people who haven't read the new Gloomstalker, check out our transition guide. It's linked in the show notes. You're gonna be sad. Like, they do still get to be invisible to dark vision, so they've still got that.
Yeah, you don't get the extra attack anymore.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, no, let's talk. What did Gloomstalker lose? Because it's like, it's debuffed, and it's not OP anymore if it ever was.
They lost their extra attack that they get from Dread Ambusher. Instead, they get a number of D8 boosts that they can do a number of times equal to their wisdom modifier, I think it is. Woo.
Yeah.
We're now out damaged by Hunter. God, that hurts me to say. That makes me want to puke. How is Hunter out damaging
you get
us
you
now?
get a lot of extra DPR just by having perpetual advantage on all of your attacks. So like that's something.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair, but still, oh god. Hunters are bad. Hunter?
Speaking of Hunter, Hunter got nerfed. Why? Okay, so Wizards looked at Hunter and understood like people like that there are decision points within the subclass. Like you can build your own style of Hunter. People like that. But the problem with that in the 2014 version was at every step there was one option which was miles better than the other two options. And even worse, you couldn't build a melee ranger or an archery ranger that had good options all the way through. So what they did to address this was they made it worse. They got rid of one of the three options every step. They kept the two better ones generally. So like that's fine. You get to change them every time. One of them you get to change on a short rest. The other one you get to change on a long rest. So like there's some nuance there. Double check the text. If they had kept all three options, good to see them. What?
Weird to see WotC adopts the no ranger left behind policy. Like bold move. Let's see how this goes.
Oof.
Terrible.
Like this could have been really good. Like they were so close to having something good. The 2014 Hunter like was a decent subclass. We had it rated green for a reason. You could have added the change your options on a short rest thing and otherwise kept it the same, and I would have been super happy. I don't know why they took away the options. Also, how much would it have made sense to make free Hunter's Mark a feature for the Hunter? Like, is that too obvious?
Yeah. That's my point. Is like, I mean, you did it. They did it with clerics. They took spiritual weapon and made it worse for everybody because now it requires concentration for some bizarre reason, even though it wasn't that amazing. I mean, it was an amazing spell, but it was like, it's just not worth using anymore unless you're a war cleric, which allows you to negate it. So here's a feature. If you're going to keep Hunter's Mark as baseline for the class, maybe Hunter's Mark doesn't require concentration for hunters. That would be an excellent upgrade to hunters.
That would be really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Land Druid over here, by the way, is just like flexing on the hunters. Like, our biome spells didn't functionally change all that much, and we now get to change them out in a long rest. We're what you wish you could be.
God, if only the Land Druid spells weren't all bad.
I think some of it's good. I mean, they at least have Fireball on one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, they have
it just has more. They have more. They don't sell them short. Like
one is blue, one is green, one is orange, one is red. I'm not even kidding. Like there are four. They managed to hit all four of our ratings.
Right, but the thing is that you have options now. You can change it every long rest if you want to. You're not locked in. So if you know that you're going to need a specific set of spells for a situation, then you have that option now. It's not like I better be happy with this spell list for all eternity because it's the one I'm locked into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked, earlier in the podcast, this idea of one of the promises, one of the commitments was Rangers won't be penalized for having so many spells where like, I'd like to do this and I'd like to do this and I'd like to do this, but I can only have one concentration at a time. Did we get delivered that?
No,
not really.
So if you're, I want to ask, like we described before, you could build a Beastmaster that wouldn't need to use Hunter's Mark. We could build a Fey Wonder that wouldn't need to use Hunter's Mark. Are there things they need to be doing in their class that are going to leverage concentration? Or can those classes leverage interesting spells that require concentration now?
I mean, saying the subclass doesn't need to use a major feature of the class isn't really a selling point. It's like saying, as a fighter, I don't need to use Action Surge. But it's
but that's actually a great example though. Like you use, because Action Surge we only get back on long rest, right?
Correct.
Okay. I get to use it literally once per day. It is situational.
No. Short rest, and they get up to 3 per short rest at high levels now. So you get it.
Okay.
They made it better.
Okay. All right. Then it isn't such a good example, but I'm going to roll with this anyway. Like you don't use Action Surge in every combat unless you really have confidence you're going to get to take a short rest in between. What we talked about before, some combat situations, I will use Hunter's Mark, and I might not be able to perfectly optimize for it because, like you said, I can't be perfect at everything all the time. But when I'm not using Hunter's Mark, when I'm in a different mode or I'm fighting a different number of creatures or I have intuition about the strength of them, that's where these other things I think can get the opportunity to shine. I imagine sitting at a table and just seeing, that decision tree of like, okay, in this mode, what I want to do is I want to apply Hunter's Mark. I want to get the benefit. We're going to be fighting this thing for a long time. So I want to keep getting those dice versus like, these goblins, I'm just going to punt their head off. No Hunter's Mark this time.
Yeah. So Action Surge was a bad example. Thayer brings up a better example. So compare it like Paladin Smite, Sorcerer's Meta Magic, Cleric's Channel Divinity. You don't need to use those features in order to play your class optimally technically. You can get by just fine without them. Would it still suck that half of your features are now just completely useless to you because the entire class is built around that one feature? I don't know about you, but part of the fun for Paladins is Smite. And part of the fun of Sorcerer is Meta Magic. Otherwise, I'm just a worse wizard.
Yeah.
that's all that is. And so the problem, and that's the problem. Without Hunter's Mark, I'm just a worse fighter. Because
but nobody's not letting you use it, though. It's just that you use it situationally, the same way sorcerers use meta magic, the same way paladins use smite.
Right, but the problem is that when half of your features are related to making that better, it makes it so that your class gets half the features as your party members do. Because now you have at least 4 levels that are just dead levels for you, including your capstone, I might add.
But I guess, again, you're going to use Hunter's Mark. I think what I'm saying is a player character that wants to lean into Beastmaster and doesn't always use Hunter's Mark because they have other interesting things that they get to do is still going to use Hunter's Mark sometimes because the situation is going to call for it and it's going to feel really good. And I doubt it's 10% of the time. I bet it's probably not half the time, but I bet it's a quarter of the time, 30% of the time. You will use Hunter's Mark. You'll get the benefits of those features. And then in other points in the game, you're going to look at your options in front of you and say, no Hunter's Mark this time. We're going in and we're going to use this other spell with concentration.
Okay, real quick.
I guarantee you any spell you use that requires concentration is going to be worse for you than Hunter's Mark. But fair enough. You can do that. I don't think it's a good way to play the class as they've built it, but sure, you can do that. You can handicap yourself if you want to. That doesn't solve the that's to say that Jeremy Crawford fulfilled his promise by like, well, you don't have to use half your features. I feel like that's a cop-out. I feel like it's like, yeah, he fulfilled that promise on the most technical terms, but that's not what people were hearing when they said that.
As the person,
that's also not what I'm saying.
As the person saying,
okay.
I agree, it's a cop-out. But yeah, I agree with you. Not using a big chunk of your class features is an awful answer. Like, yeah, I'm
not disparaging you.
Yeah.
Either of you. I think if you want to ignore Hunter's Mark, you're absolutely right. You can play this class without Hunter's Mark. I'm just trying to explain to people who like the Ranger why a majority of the audience is pissed with these changes.
Yeah.
Because it's bad. It's just objectively bad game design. When you can ignore half your features and feel like you're actually gaining by doing that, that's not good game design.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at some of the other spells real quick. Like the reduced reliance on concentration was one of the things we were promised, which obviously with Hunter's Mark being as central to the class as it is, we're not getting that reduced reliance on concentration. We're just only concentrating on Hunter's Mark. But to facilitate us doing that, they did make some changes to some signature Ranger spells. Hail of Thorns, Ensnaring Strike, Lightning Arrow. Previously, those all took concentration. You cast a bonus action, or you cast them as a bonus action. You concentrated on them until you hit. And then Ensnaring Strike, you had to continue concentrating for the full duration of the spell if you wanted full effects. Now, you cast all of those spells as a bonus action on hit, which means Hail of Thorns and Lightning Arrow, concentration is completely gone. And Ensnaring Strike, you're only using concentration when you actually hit and apply the spell. So like the concentration restriction there, it is better. So you're no longer having the issue. Yeah, like the 2014 Ranger, especially in the early years of 5e, still had this heavy dependence on Hunter's Mark to be effective. Not as bad as this, but they basically had to shut off their biggest damage boost to use any of the other spells, which meant that the vast majority of the time you just weren't going to use your other spells. Now now without these spells taking concentration, you're much more likely to use them. Also, Magic Weapon, huge mathematical buff for the Ranger. Magic Weapon no longer takes concentration. In one of our handbooks, in one of our subclass handbooks for the 2014 rules, I always forget which one, but I did the math on using Hunter's Mark versus Magic Weapon versus Elemental Weapon, and the answer to get the most DPR was when you're casting level 1 spells, Hunter's Mark. When you're casting level 2, Magic Weapon. When you're casting level 3, Elemental Weapon, and then Magic Weapon and Elemental Weapon alternate as you go up in spell level. Now, Elemental Weapon still requires concentration, so that's largely off the table. But since Magic Weapon doesn't, and they also changed the spell scaling, so level 2 gets you a +1 bonus. Level 3 Magic Weapon, like 3, 4, and 5, all get you +2. So Rangers are going to spend a big chunk of their career with a permanent +2 to attack and damage, and also Hunter's Mark. So like on Archery Ranger, you're getting +2 from Archery, +2 from Magic Weapon. So the expectation of the game is that you're going to hit on an 8. So now you're hitting on a 4. You're basically never missing. If you have advantage, you're borderline infallible with your attacks. You're doing a ton of damage. So like, yes, it is a huge pain that we are constantly locked into Hunter's Mark. Sometimes you can build to not use Hunter's Mark, but due to the changes in the spells, Rangers are still going to be really, really effective. They just all play exactly the same way, thanks to Hunter's Mark.
That's a good point. And that is a good change, that a lot of that stuff doesn't require concentration. Now, my question is, what's stopping me from building a ranged fighter with Eldritch Knight and taking Magic Weapon?
You get the spell slots slightly slower?
Or I can have my wizard casted on me. Same thing.
That's true. They don't have to concentrate though. Yeah,
and then I can do Battle Master and get all these. Yeah, and then get all these Battle Master features. I can multi-class into Warlock, get Hex. Hey, now I'm doing the exact same thing. I just don't have those other spells you mentioned, so that's fair. But again,
do you want a pet dog?
Yeah, really cool dog, man.
Fair. No, again, Beastmaster. The flavor of Beastmaster saves it for me a lot. I've always liked the fantasy of having a pet. The thing that just frustrates me is now I have to choose between, using half my features or not. But I've said my piece. I will admit that there are some things that have gotten better.
Yeah.
It is not all bad, and it's not all doom and gloom. It is an improvement over the 2014 rules. But what I will say is that is damning by faint praise.
Yeah, I know.
An improvement over the 2014 rules. The bar was in the floor.
Yeah,
so congratulations on taking a step.
We've stepped over the bar that is on the floor. But I got Ash to admit that it's not all bad.
Without
counting that as a win.
Fine. I will admit it's not all bad. It's just mostly bad. Yeah. It's like the Monty Python joke. I'm not quite dead, only mostly dead.
Yep. Okay.
Or wait, no, that's Princess Bride.
Yeah.
I'm just mostly dead.
Wait, no, that happened.
Yeah, that was
right?
Monty Python.
Well, I'm not mostly dead.
I feel happy. I feel happy.
Yeah, no, that's Monty Python, but the mostly dead was Princess Bride when Billy Crystal's trying to bring him back to life. Yeah. He's like, he's only mostly dead. There's a difference between all dead and mostly dead. And that, I feel, is the biggest, the best description of the 2024 Rangers. Yeah. It's only mostly bad. Yeah. It's not all bad. It's just mostly bad.
Right. So
I am looking forward to seeing this at a table.
Maybe my next character.
Maybe I'll change my mind once I see it in action.
Your next character 3 years from now.
Jeez. Okay, so one thing I am really worried about with them making Hunter's Mark so central to the Ranger, they have really written themselves into a corner, because now if they want to add additional spells to the Ranger, which they're going to add more Ranger spells, they always do, they either can't rely on concentration, or they need to be better than casting Hunter's Mark functionally for free. And that is a really hard prospect. Like, there are some options that do that. If you're built around Wisdom, like Fey Wanderer can cast Summon Fey. If you're built around Wisdom, Summon Fey is better for you than Hunter's Mark. Like, no matter how good you are with weapons, your Fey having 2 attacks is going to be more impactful than you getting a plus 2d6 damage from Hunter's Mark. So It's possible. It can be done, but it means that the spells have to be really, really good, which means like, okay, if they're on other classes, does that cause problems? So they've given themselves this very, very, very narrow path that they can walk to add more spells to the ranger without introducing other issues. Like, they're going to regret this decision. Like, I'm sure they're probably not enjoying all of the community feedback, but just the future designers are going to look back on this and be like, why, man? Why did we do this? Why did those folks do this? Whoever did this?
You know what? You know why they did it? Because Ranger has had an identity problem since 2014.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out what they were about, and their identity became Hunter's Mark.
Yeah. Jeez.
That was it. It wasn't supposed to be. It just became that. Like Smite was with Paladin. The difference is Smite is an actually good spell.
Fair. Okay. What if we just made Ranger
final thoughts? Make Ranger a what?
What if we just made Ranger a fighter subclass? Like, it's like Eldritch Knight, but with druid spells. Yeah.
Just make a Beastmaster or Dread Ambusher a fighter subclass, and it would be better.
Yeah. All right.
It would just be better.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Wizards of the Coast has no idea what to do with Ranger, but they're obligated to keep them for backwards compatibility reasons. If we had gotten 6th edition instead of 2024 5e, then maybe they would have gotten rid of the Ranger. I know some of the designers have said, like, if they redid 5e today, there would be way fewer classes, and most of them would just be like subsets of a class. Like Barbarian would just be a fighter subclass, which I think that's disappointing.
I don't like that.
Barbarian feels distinct
I think
enough.
Barbarian distinguishes itself more than Ranger does. So, I mean, it's pretty much abundantly clear what my opinions on the Ranger are. I think that, well, let's be fair. Is it better than the 2014 Ranger?
Yes.
Yes, objectively, yes.
Is it better than the
Tasha's Ranger?
I think so.
I would argue it's about the same. I would say it's about the same. Like, yes, it got some improvements for Tasha's, but it also got some nerfs from Tasha's, so I would call it a wash. I would say it's about the same. Is it good? No, it's not good.
I think it's...
So here's what I would...
I think it's fair to say that it's the
I agree with Tyler.
Class.
Yeah. I would say we tried many times. I think it's time to let the Ranger go. I think it's time to take it out back and put it out of its misery and just roll the subclasses into the fighter.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
Yeah. What do you think?
Which ones?
What?
Which ones?
Which subclasses?
Oh. I would argue...
Would you just take Beastmaster and Gloomstalker and drop the rest?
No, I would say you could easily make a case for all 4 of them. Maybe drop Hunter. Hunter is just not good. But Fey Wanderer, yeah, you could do Fey Wanderer. You could do Beastmaster and Gloomstalker. I think all of those would work better as fighter subclass. That would be awesome. Being a fighter with a pet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Now I get to action surge and I get a buddy. That's awesome.
And we can finally have a useful mount. We could finally have a cavalier that rides a horse.
Exactly.
Beastmaster could work for druid or fighter. Gloomstalker, obvious rogue. Hunter could, I mean, gosh, Hunter is basically scout rogue already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could just take these subclasses and put them in others. Like, there's nothing tying them to the Ranger. Like Randall said, all of the flavor of the Ranger in the 2024 rules is the subclass. And since the subclasses require you, maybe not require you, but encourage you to ignore half of your Ranger features, why are they even Ranger subclasses? Yeah. Just put them somewhere else. But look, like I said at the beginning of this, I don't like that I'm upset about this. I don't like feeling like I'm not like vindicated, like, yes, I told everybody the Ranger was going to be trash, and now I am right. I'm not that kind of person. I wanted Ranger to be good. I think the fantasy of Ranger, there's a call for that. Like, people like the flavor of the class. But if the reason you liked Ranger before was the flavor, that's gone. Yeah. So is it power you're looking for? Because that's not here. What are you getting out of this? And so it's just like, what can I, like, ignoring the subclasses. I admit that the subclasses feed into a fantasy. But again, I feel like you could just take those subclasses as written and put them in a different class, and you wouldn't have to change like really anything, and they would probably just be better and still have that flavor. The problem is that the base class just doesn't have any flavor anymore. It just feels like someone built a specific type of fighter. That's all it feels like.
I feel like the Ranger in Baldur's Gate 3 felt so mechanically interesting. Like the way they did favored enemy,
Oh, yeah.
where like it gave you passive buffs based on the enemies that you focused on. Like, I know how to hunt this enemy and have these skills as a result. Like, that would have been great. Why didn't they just steal Baldur's Gate's homework? They owned the intellectual property. Like, you own it already.
I know. There's a lot of things that I wish they stole from Baldur's Gate. But the other thing, the reason why I think Ranger works so well in Baldur's Gate is because it's in a world that's physical and where exploration is a thing. And that's where the Ranger shines. You can't really do that in a game that's more theater of the mind. And that's harder to do. But again, I still think they could have stolen some stuff from Baldur's Gate more because, again, they own the property. I don't like bashing on Rangers. I wanted them to be good. I saw what they did with monks and it got me excited because monks are they're a redeemed class now. I thought that they were just bad, but they're a good class now. And like, I looked at Elemental as a monk. I've never been excited to play a monk before as much as I am about the Elemental as a monk. It looks like a fun time.
Yeah.
And I just wish they had done something like that with Ranger.
We have a question of the week this week. This week, our question of the week comes to us from Wing Lady. What is the most underpowered character that you would have the most fun still playing?
I'd play a Ranger. Like, I would try this class. Like, there are some redeeming qualities. I think I could have a good time with it, honestly.
Yeah, I'd play Ranger too. I'm actually going to say something that's going to make Randall cry. I'd play 2014 Monk. I would. I'd do it. And I think I could still have fun with it. Like if I did Astral Self or Dragon Ascendant Monk, I'd have a good time with it. Even if I just did Open Hand Monk, I think I could still have fun with that one.
At that point, it's like, I'm just happy to be with friends. That's like it's like going out with your friends to a pub, getting in a bar fight and getting arrested, being thrown in the drunk tank. It's like, at least we're together.
Look, all I'm saying is...
Also, I feel like I got punched in the face.
I can find a way to make it fun because you know why 2014 Monk was more fun to play than 2014 Ranger? One, it was more
Racer?
It was more functional than Ranger. That's just baseline. It also was oozing with flavor.
This is true.
So I would play a class that has flavor over a class that does a lot of damage any day of the week. Because again, like if I only cared about damage, then I wouldn't be as upset about Rangers as I am right now. But yeah, no, I'm not saying it would be a blast. I'm saying I could make it fun for me. But that's the question. What about you, Randall?
I'm going to hang on a second. I'm actually looking something up because I'm trying to remember in all of the ways that meta magic was broken.
Oh, it was glorious.
Yeah.
We lost so much, Randall.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait, Tyler, was that your sincere answer? You'd play a Ranger, or did you actually have a longer form answer?
No, seriously. Like,
are you done?
I would play this class. I think I could have fun with it. Maybe it wouldn't be as insanely powerful as something else that I could build. But like there's some fun buttons to push. Like, I don't think I could play a Ranger twice. I think because so many of them will have to play the exact same way, I think a second Ranger ever would get boring. But like, I could play a Ranger once.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fair.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a caster. I'm thinking I'm going to build a sorcerer. Although, and this is what I was looking to see exactly what was the language of Twin Spell, because I just knew that it made me angry. I'm going to take no spells that deal damage.
So debuffer?
Exactly. That's all I'm going to do.
That's actually a lot of fun to play.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm going for. So super underpowered as it possibly can be. If I need to kill something, I'm using a dagger.
My question.
But I make everybody else around me have a lot of fun.
So here's my question. Why not just play Bard?
I thought about that. I did sincerely think about that. I'm hoping meta magic still makes me a more effective buffer. But I'm realizing, like, with Twin Spell being as busted as it is,
it's so bad.
This may not work. I may be better off being a bard, as you say.
Who asked for this change, by the way? If you're listening and you advocate for this change, I'm coming for you because there was nothing wrong with
metaphorically he's coming for you. Literally, he's not, because we can't say that on this podcast.
No, fair enough. Legally, I can't say that I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. No, I don't. Why do you hate fun? Like, it wasn't overpowered. It was fine. I know that we were just
twin haste. They could have just said no haste. Everything else is fair game still, but no twin haste.
Twin haste, yeah, okay, sure. It was most commonly used, but you could do other stuff.
It was awesome.
And I saw other people use Twin Spell for a lot of cool things. Like Polymorph was another fun thing. There is nothing more gratifying than using Twin Polymorph and turning both of your friends into big giant apes. That's awesome and hilarious. Or, those dramatic moments where you cast cast invisibility on both of your friends and tell them to run away while you stay behind and sacrifice yourself. That's cool. And you can't do that anymore, and it makes me sad.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Caster, no damage spells. I'm just here for my friends. I'm here for a good time, probably not a long time.
Fair enough.
All hail the Leisure Illuminati.
Hail.
I'm Reynold James. You'll find me at amateurjack.com and on Twitter and Instagram at JackAmateur.
I'm Tyler Kamstra. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, RPGBOT.Net, and of course the website, RPGBOT.Podcast.
I'm Ash Eli. Please feel free to send your hate mail at Graven Ashes on Twitter, or if you want to tell me to my face how I suck, and maybe pay me to run a game because you respect me a little bit. You can find me on starplayed.games. Link in the description.
Can I pay you like?
Go ahead.
Dude, can I pay you like $50 an hour just to tell you? It's like, I don't like you. I don't like what you stand for.
Yeah, it's like, sir, I don't agree with you, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Now here's $50.
That's what Patreon is, right?
100%. This guy boils me so much. I'm going to subscribe to him.
I really hope we don't have any hate subscribers. That would make me sad.
Why not? Why not? Let's do it. It's like, I'm going out for a run and I need to pretend that I'm chasing this person down. Usually people do the other way. It's like, I'm going to pretend somebody's chasing me. Like there's a tiger or something. It's like, now I'm the tiger, the Beastmaster. If you've enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast and rate us on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. It's a quick, free way to support the podcast and helps us to reach new listeners. You'll find links in the show notes.
Where will they find links?
In the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah, we put them there. And you could look at them right now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You'll find affiliate links or source books and other materials linked in the show notes, as well as on RPGBOT.net. Following these links helps us to make this show happen every week. If your question should be the question of the week next week, please email podcast@RPGBOT.net or message us on Twitter at RPGBOT.Net. Please also consider
RPGBOT.Net, not RPGBOT.net.
That's correct. Because what happens is when you say .net, sometimes people put the period instead of the DOT. So we got to say the DOT.
That makes sense. I understand.
Right. It's a problem. It's a big problem.
Randall, what is Twitter?
Please also consider supporting us on Patreon. Twitter. So once upon a time, somebody thought it would be a great idea to create a messaging service leveraging. I think constant hashing was the big innovation that everybody was like, oh, we could make this work. Do you want to talk about what constant hashing is?
Wait, it's not. There's no Twitter anymore, right? Are you talking about X?
Here's the deal. I have a Google product phone, and I can take that Google product phone, and I can go to my app search, and I can type Twitter, and you know what it gives me back?
What?
Twitter, and then I tweet.
Interesting.
On Twitter.
That's good.
Yeah.
So who's Elon Musk?
That's a great. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can find all kinds of great rewards. At any tier, you'll get early access to RPGBOT.content. This one was .content. And polls for future content. At our $3 tiers, you'll enjoy your choice of ad-free access to RPGBOT.net or ad-free podcast episodes and access to live stream podcast recordings.
What if I don't want to make a choice?
At our $5 tiers and above, you'll get all of that.
Yeah.
No, in that case, $5 tier and above. Then you get both.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's the easiest way to not make a choice.
So if I do $5, I get ad-free access, and if I do $3, I get the rest of it? Is that how that works?
No, it's actually the opposite, which is wild.
Okay.
At $3, we're going to make you a choice. The choices you're going to have in front of you are ad-free access to RPGBOT.net or ad-free podcast episodes and access to live stream podcast recordings. But that's an inclusive and. So for the $3 on that side, you get both the ad-free podcast episodes and the live stream podcast recordings. But then for $2 more, which 3 plus 2?
6. No.
5.
At
right?
$5 wait, we were so close. Okay, at our $5 tiers and above, you'll get all of that plus access to the RPGBOT.Discord.
How are things with you, Tyler? Are you doing okay?
I've gotten really bad at
You'll find Tyler at patreon.com/RPGBOT.
Just to let you know, Randall, Dan messaged both me and Tyler beforehand and said, during the outro, please just ask a bunch of questions and say comments and tell him that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it was good. You guys nailed it.
You thought it would spruce up the outro a bit more.
Hey, Dan, I know you're listening in the future. Mission accomplished. What Dan also messaged you about, I hope, is that folks should take a look at the RPGBOT.store. at the store, you can buy things.
Good things.
Okay.
Didn't say that.
So Randall and I just got back from Gen Con today, and I came into this episode hoping that I'd have a good, like, we just got back from traveling episode, and the best I came up with was, like, I just flew back from Gen Con, and boy, am I out of spell slots. It wasn't good, so I just... But we did get to meet one of the guys...
I'm glad you saved that for now.
We did get to meet one of the guys in one of your paid games, Ash. His name is Tim, and he seemed really cool.
Oh, yeah, he was there. He said he met you guys and that you guys were cool. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I work with them.
He did meet us.
They're kind of losers,
I don't know if we were...
but I do like them. Just kidding. I love you guys.
We like you, Tim. Thanks for saying hi at Gen Con.
Thanks for being a good... Yeah, and Tim, I'll see you on Monday. Hopefully, if you're not still stuck in where was it, Indiana?
Yeah,
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah. His flight got canceled. Unfortunately,
that's so dope.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Indiana is not a place to be trapped.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a common thing.
But he seemed to have a good time, and he liked meeting you guys. And thanks for being a good sport, Randall.
It was good. I had a good time. Honestly, we should do it this way more often.